This special episode is proudly brought to you by Shocks. They have just released the Shocks Open Run Pro 2 TCS Sydney Marathon presented by ASICS co-branded edition. Only available at shocks.com.au and the Shocks booth at the TCS Sydney Marathon Running Show, which is presented by ASICS. Enjoy the episode. All right, let's do it, guys. This will be a bit of fun. Welcome to episode number 71 of the Inside Running Podcast. We're finally bringing this episode to you Thursday night. I think it's probably the latest time we've ever recorded in the week, but we finally got there. My co-host is Julian Spence tonight. He's over in New Zealand and he's freshly become the 39th fastest marathoner of all time. How you going over there, Big Moose?
Well, I'm just recovering, actually. I've been really ill the last few days.
Yeah, you don't sound real good.
No, I feel like shit. I had like a flu-y thing, but I've also had a lot of fever. So sleeping's been a nightmare. If I get to sleep, I'm waking up like in a pile of sweat and wet sheets, and then, yeah, it hasn't been good. Hasn't been good at all.
And you're coming to us from New Zealand on your phone as well. That's why the quality of this call is a bit different, but it's better than nothing. Yeah. Tell us what you're doing in New Zealand. A lot of good.
I'm here for a wedding. Cousin's getting married on Waiheke Island, so it's outside of Auckland. It's actually a really cool place, but Wi-Fi is at a premium over here, so. We're doing it the old school way.
The old school way. And my other co-host tonight isn't Bradley Croker. He's gone missing. We're not sure where Brad is. But we filled his spot pretty well. She ran the 8th fastest marathon of all time on the weekend over at the Nagoya Marathon, a 2:26 for like a 5.5 minute PB. The listeners are pretty familiar with her. Welcome to the show, Ellie Pashley.
Hi, Brady. Thanks for having me again. I feel like everyone's going to be a bit sick of hearing my voice on your podcast.
No, all good. I don't think they'll have any problems with this, will they, Moose?
8th fastest Australian marathon.
Did I just say of all time over everyone?
You said, yeah.
It's Australian running podcast.
She came 14th, so that didn't. She came 14th. Don't pump her up too much.
Jeez, just cutting her down real quick here.
I got cut down by a few patients already today.
Yeah.
Oh, because did you say you came 14th and they looked at you like, oh, bad luck?
Yeah. Oh, did you win your marathon? Nah. Oh, bad luck. Why would you go all the way there to run a marathon if you're not going to win? I was like, oh, I don't know.
Then did they ask how far this marathon was?
Yeah, there was a few of them.
So how long was this marathon you did this time? That's the best question.
Yeah.
Ali, do you want to take us through, before we start talking about the race, do you want to take us through like the Monday to Saturday of race week, and then we'll unpack the race a bit?
Sure. I'll just get up my Strava. So Monday, actually I had a rest day, which was nice. It was pouring rain in Tokyo that day, and my nice coach gave me a day off. Tuesday, I ran for an hour. I think that was the day that I left Tokyo to go to Nagoya. So Jules and I got up early and we did a different loop that day. We were getting a bit sick of Yoyogi Park. So we went around sort of to a different park near the new Olympic Stadium and did a big loop around there with a few strides. And then I think he was half wheeling me again that day, pushing the pace.
I've got a good story about that as well, jogging with him on the Saturday before my race. He's shocking at it. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I know. And then he blames you. Wednesday morning I was in Nagoya. The others hadn't arrived yet, so I ran by myself that day and I had my last little session before the marathon. So I jogged to the Nagoya Castle and there's a nice little loop around there, which I think might be a bit GPS friendly, which was good. So I did 4x5 minutes at, I think it was 3:25s to 3:30s, but my watch was a bit all over the place and it was giving me, I think, faster splits than I was actually doing, which was nice, but I felt good. And then with a couple of minutes jog between, and then jogged back to the hotel. So that was good. That was probably the best I'd felt for a long time, which once you start tapering, it takes probably a few days before you really start feeling fresh. The next morning I ran in Nagoya, similar thing. We just ran to the castle, did a couple of laps and then ran home, but just easy pace with the girls. So Sinead, Camille and Soph, Ryan had all arrived. So we jogged together with another girl from Canada who was racing with me as well. So that was good. 8.5 Ks. What are we up to? Friday before the race, 10 Ks easy again. I think we did a few strides at the end of that one. Same thing, we just ran around the castle with the girls. And then Saturday, I just did a little half-hour shakeout run. Similar again, I don't know where else you can run in Nagoya, so we just ran to the castle, did a loop, ran home, and then just rested up until the race on Sunday.
Yeah, and felt like we were nervous and stuff before this one. How were you feeling?
I was feeling pretty good, actually. I think because my body was feeling good, and it was actually really nice having the other girls there who were, Camille and Sinead were just pacing, so they were really relaxed, which I think sort of probably helped keep me quite relaxed. Soph was there, so there was a bit of familiarity. We were just, going out for coffees and jogging and hanging out at the hotel, having a good time. So no, I think I was probably more relaxed before this marathon than I've ever been, which was nice.
Mm-hmm. And tell us about the choice with the pacing. Obviously Sinead was pacing that 2:25 group, and last week you guys weren't really sure if you'd go with that pace or not, but obviously you made a decision to jump in.
Yeah, that was a trick. That was probably the only thing that was stressing me out a little bit. So they had the two pace groups, which didn't change in the end. So the first one was 2:22 to 2:23 pace, and the second one was they wanted bang on or just under 2:25, I think. So pretty much through halfway in 1:12:20 to 30. And I knew that was too fast, but there were a couple of other girls who were probably in a similar boat to me and wanted to break 2:30, but were also a bit scared of that pace. But we sort of talked before, and we all decided that if we didn't go with it, we were probably going to be running on our own. So we may as well just have a crack. And Jules told me, well, I think you should just go with it. And you can back off when you need to. And I think having Sinead pacing it as well, I knew it was going to be really even. And it was nice having her there sitting at the front. And we had quite a big pack for the start, which got a little bit hectic at the drink stations. But yeah, I don't know, I ummed and ahed, and in the end I thought I'll just go with it, and then if I need to slow down I can. But yeah, I think that was the right move, even though I did blow up a bit.
Yeah, still you could bank a bit of time staying with that pack for so long. And is it safe to say that you would have been pretty much time trialling it if you didn't go with that pack?
Yeah, I think so. It was pretty spread out after that pack. There were a couple of Japanese girls that sort of dropped off the first pack early and but they looked like they were fairly well spread sort of along the course. So, the conditions were good and it wasn't windy, so you could have done it that way. But I think for me, it actually did help me to relax in the first half, not worrying about pace. You don't have to think too much. You can sort of just try and switch on and switch off and sit in at the back of the pack and do it that way. So yeah, it was good.
You got any questions, Bruce? I could keep going all day here.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to step out for a little bit.
Oh, we didn't even know. You dogged yourself in there.
Were you talking with Sinead at all during the run?
Not really. I sort of sat back a little bit. I talked with Rachel a little bit, the Canadian girl. We almost got tangled up in a fall at about 15 Ks. And after that, we sort of spoke about, because our drink tables were one after the other, we sort of spoke about going back and then I guess a bit of a strategy to let her go get her drink for then me to come through to get my drink, just because it was really crazy there. But now Sinead was sitting a bit further, like she had to sit right at the front of the pack. So there wasn't much talk.
And were you paying attention to the splits, Ellie, or were you just kind of going on feel, knowing that as long as you were in that pack, you were right?
I did look at every 5K there was a big clock, and I was occasionally looking at the splits. If I felt like we'd gone a little bit faster or a little bit slower, I was having a look every now and then, but not too much. I tried to just not think about it and switch off, and I thought if I start feeling uncomfortable, then I can back off a little bit and use my watch more if I need to, but I felt quite good for the first half, so yeah.
Yeah. In regards to the event, like Julian and I were kind of like hacks at this one over at Lake Biwa. What was the treatment like for you as like one of the elite foreign players brought in for the race?
Yeah, they treated us really, really well. So I got there quite early. A few of the international athletes actually got there on Tuesday. So similar to you guys, we stayed at the race hotel and we had breakfast and everything provided there. We had a massage therapist that we could go and see every day, who was on our level in the hotel, which was really good. They basically just organise everything for you, so you don't have to think as far as taking you to and from the event, and the technical meeting where they explain everything to you. And it was pretty. We were taken care of, which was really nice.
And do you have like Moose and I were looking at this guy at breakfast who was like a personal assistant for like one of the Kenyan guys, and he was literally like, the guy would point to a piece of bread and this like assistant would put the piece of bread onto his plate and stuff like that. Like, did you have one of those over there?
No, I wish.
No, you don't. We were bagging it. It wasn't a good look when you got to point to a croissant and someone else picks it up for you.
No personal assistance. I mean, maybe the faster African athletes got them at our race too, but I didn't see any of that. I think people's managers and things tend to do a lot of that sort of thing for them, but I'm not sure about picking croissants up and bringing them to their plate.
What about Moose when the guy didn't get the right croissant either? You had to put it back and get another one.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were just laughing at this guy.
Back on the race, anyway. Hey, this guy was a manager, not an athlete.
People love knowing these details.
Yeah, that was fun.
Let's go to the race then. What point
in the race, what point did you know you were on for something special?
500 metres to go.
Really? So, not until that late?
Yeah. So I actually stopped looking at my watch. Do you want to know the full story?
Yeah, this is what we do here.
That's why you're on here.
So I was with the second pack, and we went through half, and I felt good. Got to about 24 Ks, and I was like, I'm feeling a bit crook in the stomach, and I wasn't really sure why. And then I kept telling myself, no, you're imagining it. You're fine. But I started looking on the sidelines for portaloos, and there were a few, but they were sort of tucked off in car parks, and there are a lot of people at this stage still out on track. I sort of kept trying to shut my mind off and tell myself that I felt fine. And I was still getting my drinks down without an issue, and I started to get dropped by the pack maybe around 27, 28 Ks. And then I started feeling worse and worse. And anyway, I got overtaken by a couple of people, and then we turned around at 30 and started heading back. And I saw this, it was like a pit lane of portaloos off to the side of the road, but it was almost, you just ran off about 3 meters and then you could run along, and then it merged back on. And I thought, I'm going to have to go to the toilet. I think this is the only spot that looks like it's really easy to get off and back onto the course. And I was starting to sort of get stomach cramps, and I knew something wasn't right. So anyway, ran into the portaloo, locked the door. I don't know why you would need to lock the door in the race in the portaloo. And then came back out and I thought, oh, I've stuffed my race here. I've stopped and I'm not going to break 2:30. And I was a little bit sort of angry at myself. And then I turned and I'd slowed down a little bit before that too. So I was already thinking it was sort of going downhill. So I turned my watch off just onto the time of day so I couldn't see anything. And then I kept running, and the people that were just in front of me when I'd stopped, I could still see them. They weren't actually that far ahead. So I hadn't stopped for very long, and I gradually they were started coming back to me. So anyway, I think because I was so angry at myself too, I ran quite hard because, I was mad that I'd had to stop. And then I felt really good immediately after. So I just thought, just don't worry about time, just run and just get this race over with. And it's probably not going to go that well, but it doesn't matter, plenty more opportunities to run marathons. Bit of negative self-talk to tell myself to stop being a wuss and get it done. Anyway, and then in the technical meeting, I remember the guy had told us that at 500 metres to go, we make this sort of sharp right turn and head in around the back of the dome and in the back entrance. And I'd gone through, 38, 39, 40, and I was getting pretty tired by then, but I'd run quite hard for the last bit. I thought I was still probably losing time, but, at least I was sort of having a go. And then I saw on the clock there that it said 2:24, and I was like, shit, I'm sure this is 500 metres to go. Like, they can't be right. It must be further. But I knew I'd gone past 41 a little while ago, and then I was thinking maybe that clock's wrong. And so then I turned my watch back onto the time, and same thing, 2:24. And then I was like, oh, holy shit, I think I could still run under 2:27 here, which was probably faster than what I ever thought was possible even before it started going bad. So then, just ran hard for the last 500 metres and finished in 2:26:20. So I was very pleasantly surprised with that.
And was it cool finishing inside that stadium?
Yeah, it was cool. The finish line was really, really cool. So they had lots of lights and pink balloons, and it was very pink. But yeah, there were quite a few people in the stadium watching, and it's the finish line's always good. It's such a big relief. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, world champs and Olympic qualifier as well. Not bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was surprising too. But I was definitely stoked.
You had a bit of a worried coach when that toilet break pit stop kind of split came in when we were watching the splits before our race. He was starting to get a bit nervous. We're like, oh, she's blown up here. That was a bit slower, that 5K, not knowing at all that you'd had to stop.
Yeah, and I knew I had slowed down a little bit before that anyway, but I didn't feel like I'd blown up. My breathing still felt really good. My legs were getting tired, but they felt fine. So I sort of knew that I just had to do that. And in hindsight, I probably should have gone earlier, but I don't think it matters. I think it made me run harder for that last 8 or 9 Ks anyway. And it's kind of like a reset button. You just forget about the last 30 Ks and I was a bit stressed too.
Yeah, I could imagine. Moose, did you think that was there, the 2:26?
Yeah, I did. That's why, I thought Ellie could go quicker, and I think having a toilet break probably means that she could go quicker. So that's why I think
I don't think it made much difference, though, to be honest.
Well, the K you ran, I think someone said on Strava that they saw that it was 4:08, and all your other Ks would have been around that 3:25 mark, 3:30. So all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, that's 38 seconds right there. Yep. That's 38 seconds on top of your average.
But you get a bit of a rest. And it made me a bit angry and aggressive.
It was the way to do it. Everyone would stop for the toilet if that was the right way to do it.
Recommend that strategy.
Yeah, you should try it.
Yeah, I might need to after my marathon back end. Might be something worth trying.
New tactic,
yeah. Nah, it's amazing. And
strategic or tactical dump.
And what about the support at home, Ellie? Like, what was it like when you got back on Wi-Fi at the hotel? Would have been crazy.
Yeah, I got lots of nice messages from people actually, which I was really surprised about. Lots of people that follow running, even people that I don't know that well. So that was quite fun reading the messages. I think I still have to write back to some, but yeah, I was excited to get back to the hotel and watch you guys actually more than anything.
Shocks, the pioneer of open-ear audio, is celebrating its appointment as the official headphone partner of 6 2026 Abbott World Marathon Major Races with a first-of-its-kind global runner recruitment program called Chasing Stars. The stars represent both the iconic Abbott World Marathon Major Races and the personal goals every runner pursues. By launching Chasing Stars together with Shock's Global Ambassador Eliud Kipchoge and Shock's Global athletes Andy Buchanan, Connor Mance, Alicia McColgan and Helena Beery, Shock's aims to move closer to its vision of building a running world, encouraging more people to run and to chase their own stars. In this initiative, Shocks recruits hundreds of runners worldwide and provide a limited number of participants with access to entry for selected 2026 Abbott World Marathon Major Races, for which Shocks is the official headphone partner. The program is also designed to support everyday runners, while amplifying their stories to inspire runners across the globe along the journey. Adding to this occasion, Shocks have launched a limited edition version of its most favoured sports headphone, the Open Run Pro 2, with each of its Abbott World Marathon Major Races partners. Coming in a striking deep blue and gold colourway, with the corresponding marathon map illustrated on the gift box and case, they make the perfect keepsake for runners looking to celebrate their participation in their major of choice while supporting their future running endeavours. Check them out, the Shocks Open Run Pro 2 TCS Sydney Marathon presented by ASICS co-branded edition. Only available at shocks.com.au and the Shocks booth at the TCS Sydney Marathon Running Show presented by ASICS. Rightio, Moose, you ready to go through Monday to Sunday?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll do that off memory because I don't have Wi-Fi.
Do you want me to tell you what it is? I've got it on here.
I think I jogged on Monday. It was pretty wet. I jogged by myself in the afternoon around Yoyogi Park. I didn't want to have a break because I was feeling the back. I just kept wanting to test it to make sure it was all good or what was going on. So I just jogged. Tuesday, I ran with Ellie in the morning. That was it. And then went on the bullet train up to Kyoto. So stayed in Kyoto on the river there. Wednesday morning, did the workout along the river. So there's like a concrete path along the river. And I went to feel for that workout. So I did 4 by 5 minutes with 2 minutes jog, same workout as Ellie had. And like her, I felt really good. I felt amazing, actually. And if you're really into Strava, you'll note that I sort of actually titled the workout like 5 minutes at marathon feel, because it was the first time that I kind of took my eye off the pace and just went to what I thought the marathon should feel like. And then I looked at the splits later and I'm like, okay, that might be where my marathon pace is. And so it was a bit quicker than I had planned. So that was kind of a sign that everything was going really well. Thursday I jogged on the river and up to there's a palace. Oh no, what is that? The Imperial Palace? Some palace. Ran around that for a bit and then back. Friday, jogged around the river a little bit. It's actually a really cool place to run, this river in Kyoto, a good place to do workouts and everything. And then Saturday, I was with you in Otsu. We went out for a jog in the morning around the lake, kind of, up and down. Pretty fresh morning.
Oh, it's beautiful there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was crisp. I had a week or so of cold first, and you hadn't had much at all. You're coming from the country in Chuka or whatever, so it was hot as hell. So you would have been real cold.
Yeah.
Anyway, no comment. We'll move on. Race morning. So I woke up. I actually had a really good sleep, which is very strange before a marathon. I think it was because the race was late in the day. Our race started at 12:30 p.m. So I woke up at 6:30 or so. But I had a great sleep, like no wake ups during the night. But I took a sleeping pill to help with that. I'm pretty comfortable, like starting the race at 12:30, that it wouldn't affect me, and it didn't. It felt fine. I didn't have any like lethargy or like kind of dopiness. Having breakfast was weird because you don't know what to eat. 12:30 race, you have to eat enough to keep you full up until the race, but you don't want to have anything sit heavy. So I had some toast, pastries, had a little bit of, like a spoonful of scrambled eggs just to get some protein in, and then some cornflakes with not much milk, had a coffee, and then had a banana about 2 hours later, and then just had liquid carbs, so a bottle of Morton on the way to the race. And while I was sitting before the race, I just sucked on some more Morton. So when we got to the track, the Biwa starts on a track, and so we had a warm-up room. So everyone, all the elite athletes and the, I guess, foreign athletes were put up in this room. All the managers were up there and the partners of the athletes. And Nagoya was on TV, so we were watching Nagoya with everyone, all the Africans and everything. They weren't very interested, to be honest. The European managers, I think they had a few interests in the race, so they were all crowded around watching. And I did use about $50 of data just to get some splits up. So we were following and watched you finish, Ellie, which was probably about, I think 5 minutes before we went out to do a warm-up, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
because I said to you, I'm like, how do you feel? Like you're about to do a warm-up for your own marathon and you've just watched that.
Yeah. And I felt like my nerves had gone. Like, because our training has been exactly the same, basically. And we've had very similar responses to it. And everything's been almost identical. So it gave me a lot of confidence that my race would go well. And also the fact that you had an 18:12, like you had that massive slip in one of your splits, like that real shit 5K, which we didn't know at the time, but it looked like you've sort of had this massive bad patch and then come through it. And I think, was it you that I said to? I'm like, hey, that just shows that even if you're going through a bad patch, you can come out of it and finish really strongly.
Yeah, you said that to me when we were
there's a little bit of hope that even if it does go bad, like through the middle, just keep fighting because it can still be a success.
Which is so true too in marathons, like that. You're always going to have a shit patch, and it does. I don't know, like you've just got to keep going when that happens, don't you? Because sometimes you might feel really good again 5Ks later.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a trap I do with people that pull out of marathons. This is the general thing. No one in particular is aimed at, but like if someone gets in a bit of a habit of withdrawing every time something gets tough in a marathon, it can become this thing, like a habit where it's an ongoing feature of their racing, because they always start to think, oh, it's gone shit, let's pull out, let's run again another day, let's go on another day. Whereas sometimes you don't want that to become part of your racing. Anyway, the start line is quite strange being on a track. There's 350 athletes, around about that much, all fitting onto this 400-meter track, and we were up the front because I had a good seed, I guess. I think I was 126. I think I was maybe the 26th seed after the elite guys. So I was on the second row, right behind the Africans and the Pacers. So I got out quite well. I think I went through 72 seconds, the 400, so a bit quick, but there's not much choice when you get in You can't just put the brakes on. I was all right with it. But then we got through left the stadium after 600 metres, got through in 1K in 3:02, and that was too fast, considering I was right behind the Africans. But again, it's hard to put the brakes on because you're in a big pack. You kind of need to find your way outside of the pack to put the brakes on. And at the same time, I was getting swamped by Japanese runners coming from behind me, which means I was on like 3:02 pace and they would have been running 2:55 pace from well back in the field, coming around me to try to join up with that main pack. So that was a little bit scary at the time. I had no idea. I don't think any of them lasted up there, but still interesting to see how brave or gutsy or suicidal they are. About 3K in, there was a little pack form. Brad Milosevic, Reese Edwards, and Tom DeCanto. So the Australian guys outside of yourself and who else was there? Brad Carlefelt, and
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Guys.
We had a couple of New Zealand guys back with us, but kind of like the guys that we've been talking about are hunting for those world champ singlets, I suppose. Like guys who, Tom's made a world half team, Brad's made world champs back at London for the marathon. Reese has ran a 2:16. So the guys that you're expecting would be going head to head to try and run that sub 2:16. We're all in that pack.
That is the pack. And it was funny that it had formed because I didn't think it would, because I was going to let those guys go because I thought it would be too fast, because both Brad and Tom had run quite a bit quicker than I had. And so I was like, oh, well, this is where I'm at now. And at this point, it felt too fast. And so I looked behind and I was going to drop back, but there was just a big gap already. So if I had have dropped off then, I would have just sat by myself. And at that point, I decided to just stay with it. You've still got a lot of adrenaline going from the start of the race, so it keeps you rolling. Went through 5K. I hit the split on my watch and it said 15:39, and that was a pretty big oh shit type moment. Like, have I just ruined my entire day right now? Because that's way outside the range that I would have been preparing myself to run for 5K, like well outside it. And that's normally a sign that you've just blown your entire race, that first 5K. So that scared me a little bit. But I was committed to the group. So the pace did slow a little bit, that second 5K. I'm pretty sure that at this point I said to Reese Edwards, I'm like, hey, these blokes are going a bit quick for me. Do you want to drop back? Or do you want to slow down with me? And he kind of pointed ahead and said, oh, well, that's the third world champ spot up there, as if whoever stays with them.
Applying that Brad and Tom had already had to. Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty early. This was about 6K when this happened. So at that point, if he had have said, let's back off, I would have backed right off. But stayed with the pack, passed Bree at around 6K, I reckon, and saw her for the first time, which was good, relieving. Got my first bottle. That's good to see the tables for the first time, to see how they're actually set up in reality. Passed a few people, but was still getting rolled by the Japanese coming from behind us, like putting in massive surges, passing us.
Can I just interrupt you here? At 5K, you're in 66th position, going through in 15:39.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I don't think it's smart. Like, there's bravado and then there's pretty stupid decisions. And I'm going to say that a lot of the decisions being made out there were not that brave. They were stupid by other blokes. And I don't know, maybe it's just part of their running culture, but
yeah.
Do they just run one every weekend and hope it pays off?
Yeah, and they all have these amazing PBs. So they obviously have 20 marathons where they completely blow to smithereens, and then one where it just works.
Yeah.
What
Where it just pays off.
Yeah.
I love the numbers as well, like how they rank you. So, like, you see people going past with a number 300, which means they're like a 226 guy, and they're running at 215 pace. It just it doesn't make a lot of sense at all. Sorry,
Yeah.
back to your recap.
But anyway.
Where's that?
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Where's your arch rival at this stage? Where's Nick Earl? He with you?
Well, he started next to me on the start line, but he went behind the orange kit, which was, I think, all paces. So he just sat in behind the paces and went off with the front group right behind them. I didn't think that was a brilliant decision because I know they were running 3:02 pace, the paces. They'd asked for it, and so he had just gone with them, which is what, 2:07 pace, 2:07. So no, not even he thinks he can run that fast. But yeah, he was up ahead. I couldn't see him. He was gone. I thought we actually might have started to see him come back in the first 10K, but no, didn't see him.
He got some good TV time.
Who did?
Nick. You could see him bobbing up and down the back of the lead pack.
See that big bald head. 15:55 went through in that second 5K, and it was 31:34 for 10K, which I think is quicker than what I went through in at Burnie 10 on that hilly course down there. And also felt like, gee, it feels pretty easy at the moment, and that's the pace I'm running. Like, this is, I just got a hint of what if this is actually the right pace. So that was a little bit of a warming moment, I guess. Puts the fear away or to the side for a little bit. And then the 10 to the 15K mark, like, this is where, in my mind, like, my race, this is where it was made, because this is the place where I pulled back from the group. They started pushing faster, and it felt like I was really having to stretch to hold on. And when it was at like 11K or something, it just seemed that's just too early to be trying to fight to hold on to a pack. And yeah, so I dropped back and let the pack go. And I made a decision then. I'm like, I think I spoke to Ellie. I did. I said to Ellie earlier in the week, I said, whatever decision that you make in the race, just commit to it and see it through, rather than just half trusting it and let the pack go for a little bit and then try to chase them back and all this sort of stuff. Just be confident when you make a decision. And so I was when I made that decision to pull back, I'm like, okay, this actually is the right decision. And so let them go. Didn't feel like I was making the wrong call or I was missing out on something. I pulled back and let them run off. And I still felt like we were moving pretty well. At this point, I didn't have the pace showing on my watch. I was just running along, and I'm like, it feels pretty fast still. And at 12K, I passed Reese, who he had dropped off the pack. He'd stayed with them and then dropped back, and he wasn't looking that good. And I asked him as I went past if the group had picked it up. He said that they had, which kind of confirmed to me that I didn't want to be in that pack because they're surging a little bit. And this was going up the hill at the time. There is a hill in the race, definitely. It's like at the 12K mark or I think around the 30K mark. And it's kind of I would say it's about half of the Shrine Hill at Melbourne Marathon. Would you say that, Brady?
Nah, I don't think so. Definitely, half the length, you think?
Not quite that big.
Or half the gradient?
Yeah, half the length.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be half. Maybe a third. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Third, yeah.
And it kind of rolls down as well, so you kind of got to...
Maybe Fitzroy Street.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
We'll call it Fitzroy Street. Yeah. And I had a Japanese guy with me at this point. He was pretty erratic too, going up, surging, and then blowing back and I'd pass him again. It was pretty crazy. He wasn't there for very long, but he was working so hard. You could just hear it. And so it gave me confidence because I felt like I was cruising compared to him. And then the group in front was staying around the same distance. When I got the 15K, hit the split, 15:57, still well under what I wanted to see for 5K at that point. So got dropped by the pack, but still well ahead of my splits and pretty comfortable with how I was feeling too. So at 15K, you're at the bottom of the course and then you do a U-turn basically on a bridge and you go up the other side of the lake. And on the other side of the lake, as you do a 180 and run straight into a pretty stiff headwind, which immediately I thought like the 12K that we just ran down the course, it all made sense why the fast pace was feeling so comfortable. The tailwind, which you can't really feel when you have a tailwind. Like you can feel it when it's in your face, but when it's behind you, you don't know if it's a wind or not.
Yeah, especially when you're so fresh as well.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I thought, shit, we're going to have to cop that on the way back.
You and I thought exactly the same thing.
Yeah, we'd done our bloody math on it, and it seemed like we would get this wind coming back with us, and it was going to be the opposite. So that was a little bit, in my head, I thought, okay, it's not going to be the day that you had in mind anymore. You're going to have to deal with that on the way home. But at this point, I was solo, so I thought, shit, you need to find yourself a pack to go back up into the headwind with. So I kind of decided there to make a play for the pack in front of me again, because I thought it would be more beneficial to spend a few more bickies catching up to them if I could hold on to them into the wind for 10 or 12K. And so I gave myself a bit of a license to work harder than I would normally work at this point in a marathon, from 15K to 20K. And I did definitely work harder that 5K. I started to feel like borderline whether I was going too hard. Up ahead, I kept seeing Brad's yellow singlet. I look up now and then just to get a gauge on how far they were. And they weren't coming back that quickly until later on in the 5K segment. And then I could tell I was catching them. And at 20K, I didn't have anyone around me this whole 5K. I ran 16:04 with a headwind and solo into it, and that just gave me a massive boost because I thought if I could run that into like by myself headwind, at this point I feel like I can go way quicker on the way home. So ran another K to catch him at the halfway point, turned around, saw everyone ahead of me.
What was your half?
What was going on?
Sorry.
I think I went through in 67:04.
04, yep.
67:04, yeah. So that's, I mean, I haven't run many half marathons, but that's
a PB.
That's by far a PB. Yeah.
And your second half was probably a PB as well.
Yeah, probably. But I was like, oh shit. Normally I run my second half faster. And at that point I'm like, could I run 2:13 today? And all of a sudden from then to the finish, I was like, you're on. Like, this is your day again. It's happening all over again. So I just had this adrenaline boost and I turned the corner and, you do a U-turn and I'm like a sprinter out of the blocks, just like exploded to try to catch the group. And caught up to the pack at about 22K. Couldn't see Tom, the Canto, in the group, and I definitely hadn't passed him. So I assumed he dropped off or dropped out because I hadn't passed him. So he might. And then I asked Brad. He just thumbed back down the road, which I guess I didn't know what it meant. So I kept pressing him. And he said, took a shit or something. And then I thought, okay, well, Tom's back down there. it's out of the Australians. It's me and Brad now. But I was feeling so good, and this was at about the 22K mark. I'm like, okay, well, I've got a tailwind, and I've got a pack with me. So how about we try to make use of the tailwind a bit more, and take advantage of it. Like, I've done all this hard work into the headwind by myself. Let's capitalize on this tailwind. So I just started to really press, and I ran like a 305, a 305, 308, 308, 308, 306, 304 around the bottom at the 28K mark. And I was just like, I gave myself these little, it's pretty dumb, but I gave myself these little incentives, like at 25K, take off your gloves. So I took my gloves off, and I'm like, oh, that feels like I'm lighter and I'm fresher. And I'm like, this is great. And then I said, okay, 30K, you're pulling your arm sleeves off. So it's 30, by this stage, I'm like, everything's helping. But then again, you get to that 28K mark. So I'd run past the pack at this point. No one from the pack went with me. And I turned the bridge, 28K mark, and hit the headwind again, which was annoying, but I knew it was coming. So my pace has dropped again from 305, 308 to 311. And I just started to work towards the people that were just continually dropping off in front of me. So I would just run to a guy and roll around him, and then roll around the next guy, and then the next guy, and then I'd go past two people. And these guys weren't like strategically slowing down. They were spent, blown up. So they're not much help to you at that point. They're actually more like a hindrance, I guess, being in the way. But they do give you a nice little rabbit to chase. And then I saw Nick I knew he was coming. I'd had my eye on him for a while, but I caught him at 32K mark, about right on it. And I think a few people commented on the Facebook about, like, I wonder what's going to happen when he catches him. And it's funny, I actually had that discussion in my mind with myself. Like, I'm going to, the first thought was, I'm going to pass this bloke on the other side of the road and give him donuts and not let him, like, this, I'm not going to let him jump on, basically. And then I thought, no, fuck it, there's 10K to go. I know how strong he is. He's a really strong runner, and I like him. Like, he's a good fella. Even though he's knows how to draft off people in a race, he's good, and I enjoy spending time with him on the trip. And so I ran up to him, and I ran around, and I could see he got a little bit of a shock seeing me, because the last time he saw me, I would have been way back on the pack, and he would have expected someone else to come through, I reckon, before me. And then he's like, oh, Moose. And I said, come on. I think that's what I said. And pointed in front. And he was running with a bloke, and he was latched onto this bloke's ass, exactly in Nick's fashion. And they're running slow as hell. They're running like 325s, I reckon, going backwards. And I said, Nick, come on, and pushed him in front, basically. And all of a sudden, we dropped this bloke 50 metres in about 30 seconds, I reckon. And in my head, I'm going, what were you thinking, Nick? Just against someone in front of you, you know you're allowed to run your own race. And he could obviously keep up with me. And so we ran the next 10K, slowing, to be honest. Like, our K-splits drifted. This is what we ran to 40K. 311, 39, 312, 12, 13, 15, 13, 14, 18. So we were getting progressively slower. But it was into a win, and obviously we're getting a bit tired. No one else helping us whatsoever. We were just, like, on our own. Out of that 10K, because there were no cameras on this, I can guarantee you that I'd say 9.2 kilometres of that with Nick less than a metre behind me, directly in my draft line. And I think he admitted that to you as well. Is that right, Brady?
Yeah, I think he thought you said watch out for that. You said to him, do some work or something, and he thought you said watch out for the drink bottle on the road. Was that the confusion?
No. I pointed around, I said, have a go. And he's like, didn't do anything. And I thought, oh, this is terrible. Like, this is exactly how everyone thought it would play out. But he did try a couple of times. He puts on these noises, you know what they sound like, this gasping, like someone's drowning him. And then all of a sudden, like, he falls back and I'm in front again and the noises stop. So
I don't think people expected him to run the first 25k at 2:12 pace though. Like, we thought he'd just like chomp you in for the start and just follow you the whole way.
Yeah, no, that was a brave move by him. I don't think it was the smartest move, but it paid off pretty well. I'm going to be honest though, he was lucky I came past when I did, because he looked quite content to run it in at 3:25, sitting right behind that bloke he was on. He wasn't moving, and all of a sudden he picked his pace up by 10 seconds a kilometre when I went past. So I'm not sure what he was thinking. But we ran to 40k, turned a corner, 41k. We were still going pretty slow, obviously starting to struggle. Then at 41, he went past, kicked past, and I was hanging on to him at that point. We come in the stadium, 600 to go. I went past the 400 mark with him. I saw the clock. I knew I was on for a 2:14 something or other. And at that point, I didn't really care whether it was going to be 2 or 3 seconds quicker if I had a belt in the last 400. He had a kick in him, so he kicked off. He would have run that last lap 3 seconds quicker than I did, I reckon, because he finished 4 seconds in front. So I finished, and I was pretty smashed actually. Like that last 10k, that, like, Nick and I think will share something with that last 10k, because we went to some pretty tough places there together, I reckon, both hurting in exactly the same spot in exactly the same time. Like, all marathoners share the same pain. Like, we all sympathise with every other marathoner, but when you're hurting together for such a long period of time, it's like it's slightly bonding, I reckon. And yeah, whether we've ever run a marathon faster, like, we helped each other out. So 2:14.42, and that, I mean, exceeded my expectations, definitely. I thought that I could have done that. I think the work, I've resisted calling this the perfect build-up, because it's only a perfect build-up if your race goes perfectly. Otherwise, it could be a totally shit build-up. It all comes down to the race, and so the race went fantastic, and so I think I'm just working out what works for me really well, and I'm just executing a little better, and I'm just sort of honing in on everything, and it's just getting more and more defined, this marathon build-ups.
Yeah, I think you two have both got it pretty nailed.
Yeah.
Well, we did the same.
Got it pretty nailed.
Our training,
what he tells me.
Yeah. I think a few people stalking his Strava, just copying some workouts from here on in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit more complex, I think. Yeah, it's not as simple as, like, looking at the last 8 weeks and going, oh, this is his marathon build-up. It's not as simple as that. Like, we worked on things well before the last 8 weeks. Mm. Getting to the right place with 8 weeks to go it's really important. And so that's where, like, copying and pasting training won't work out for you. You have to, it has to be a little bit more holistic and longer term than that. Yeah. But I feel like I know what I want to do next time, and what little things I'll do differently. And every time, like, I get to practice it on myself, practice it on Ellie too. Hopefully we don't fail any practice attempts, but seems to be going all right.
What were the feelings like when you crossed the line? Like, having Nick there would have been a bit of a distraction, I suppose, taken away from the 2:14 a bit. Like, could you really enjoy it, or were you just like, shit, I wish I had 4 seconds and outkicked him?
I didn't care about not beating him, but I didn't. It was funny. I wasn't like ecstatic when I crossed the line like other races. I'm not sure. It's just more like a relief, I reckon. It wasn't like a big celebration. It was like, oh, good, like just good. I'm glad that went well. It should have. Like this was just like a full.
You're
full
so
stop
emotionally
at the end of the whole
tired
build.
too.
Yeah.
You were drained. I was drained. Like the last 10K just absolutely hurt Locker. It takes out a lot of emotion. I think it does. And I was like, oh, let's just sit down and, yeah, that's a good time. But, like, again, it's just it was just like completing the last step in a training program. It's just the last step. And I got probably more satisfaction from nailing, like, the last big long run than I did from the marathon, just because I was like, it should have gone well. And I knew it would go well, and it was just nice that it did.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I was pretty excited for you. I was stoked when I crossed the line and saw that you'd run 2:14. I couldn't believe it.
Well, you've been there now at 3 marathons I've done well. You've been there every time. It's funny. You're like my good luck charm.
Yeah, it's good that I'm someone's good luck charm. Yeah, no,
I'm going to bring you everywhere.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. I think you might be going to some big deal marathons from now on, so I'm happy to come along and be your good luck charm for sure. Thanks for listening to this special episode. Check out the newly released Shocks Open Run Pro TCS Sydney Marathon presented by ASICS co-branded edition, only available at shocks.com.au and the Shocks booth at the TCS Sydney Marathon Running Show, which is presented by ASICS.
Who'd have stayed hung up? Who'd have been knocked down? But here I stand, a man whose roots he understands, and I'm gonna hold my head up high. I was taught as a young man, doesn't matter if you're white or black. Just show love to everyone you meet, doesn't matter if it don't come back. Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking. Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking. I keep holding on to the hope that all the suffering was for something. Something for something. Something for something. When it's said and done, all your words and all your hate don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. All your names, if it's all the